collection each sold separately. Large-sized Darth Vader with his lightsaber. Princess Leia, champion of the rebel cause, with her defender Luke Skywalker. You can swing him into action on his grappling hook. And load Chewbacca's laser crossbow. Star Wars large-size action figures, up to 15 inches tall and ready for action. Large-size Darth Vader, Chewbacca, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, each sold separately from Kenner.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Mark's Action Figures. May the 4th be with you. For millions of fans around the world, those words represent more than just a fun holiday. They represent imagination, hope, adventure, and one of the greatest heroes in fantasy history, Luke Skywalker. This week, we celebrate May 4th. In honor of that day, we're going to take a look back at the incredible 12-inch collector series figures from Kenner, released in 1996. A line that brought a legendary hero from the original trilogy to life in a larger, more detailed format for collectors. And what makes Luke so special is that every version of him tells part of a much larger journey. Not just Star Wars journey, but the timeless, mythological journey of the classic hero. The original 1978 Luke Skywalker figure, this is where it all began. Before the 1996 collector series. Before highly detailed modern collectibles. This figure launched shortly after the explosive success of Star Wars. This figure became one of the earliest large-scale Star Wars collectibles ever produced. Inspired by the popular 12-inch G.I. Joe of the era, Kenner gave Luke cloth clothing, accessories, and a large format that made him feel larger than life for kids and collectors alike. At a time when Star Wars merchandise was still brand new, this figure helped transform movie toys into a cultural phenomenon. For many fans growing up in the late 1970s, owning that original Luke Skywalker, that original 12-inch Luke Skywalker, wasn't just about having another action figure. It was about bringing the adventure of a galaxy far, far away into your home. So in our review today, first up, we have Luke Skywalker from Tatooine. This is where it all began. The farm boy, staring into the twin suns, dreaming of something greater beyond the desert horizon. This version of Luke represents innocence, curiosity, and destiny waiting to be awakened. Like heroes from ancient mythology and fantasy legends before him, Luke begins as the ordinary young man, farm boy, called into an extraordinary adventure. And that's what made him instantly relatable to audiences in 1977. He wasn't born powerful. He became powerful through courage, loss, and perseverance. Next up, we have Luke in his X-Wing pilot gear. with his helmet. This is the version of Luke who joins the Rebel Alliance and takes his true first step into heroism. The orange flight suit became iconic after the Battle of Yavin, where Luke trusted the Force and destroyed the Death Star. This moment transformed him from dreamer into legend. And this is one reason why Luke Skywalker became such an important protagonist in fantasy storytelling. He follows what mythologist Joseph Campbell called the hero's journey. The reluctant hero who leaves home, faces darkness, finds mentors, and ultimately discovers who he truly is. Now we have Hoth Luke. This version captures a colder, more hardened stage of the character. By The Empire Strikes Back, Luke is no longer just an idealistic young rebel. He's evolving. He's learning discipline, sacrifice, and responsibility. The Hoth outfit is one of the coolest visual designs in the trilogy because it reflects survival in harsh conditions, both physically and emotionally. Luke's story becomes darker here, and audiences grew with him. Then we arrive at Bespin Luke. For many fans, this is the defining chapter of Luke Skywalker's journey. This is where the hero faces devastating truth. Failure, fear, temptation, and of course, one of the greatest revelations in cinematic history. No spoilers. I'm not going to say what it is in case someone, you never know, hasn't seen the original trilogy yet. And of course, Luke loses more than a duel in Cloud City. He loses certainty. But great fantasy heroes are not defined by perfection. They're defined by what they do after they fall, how they get up and fight and prevail. It's about resilience. And that's what elevates Luke Skywalker beyond simply being a science fiction character. He becomes mythic. Now we come to the Black Jedi outfit version. This is the version from the 2-pack with Bib Fortuna. This is peak Luke Skywalker. Calm, focused, confident. The black outfit symbolizes balance, the constant tension between light and darkness. And unlike many action heroes, Luke ultimately wins, not through hatred or domination, but through compassion. That's the core of his character. Even when facing Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine, Luke refuses to surrender his humanity. That moral victory is what makes him one of the great protagonists in fantasy lore, alongside heroes like Frodo Baggins, King Arthur, and Harry Potter. Then we have Ceremony Luke. This figure captures the triumphant ending of A New Hope. The medal ceremony remains one of the most uplifting moments in film history. It symbolizes hope, winning over tyranny. And ultimately, this is why Luke Skywalker continues to endure across generations. He represents optimism, the belief that ordinary people can rise above fear and darkness, that redemption is possible, and that hope matters. My version, unfortunately, has, and this is something that I've spoken to in the past, be very cautious when you store your figures. Soft goods tend to stain. The ink used for soft goods tend to stain other materials. And this character here has been stained by a Superman cape. And sometimes the soft goods, you have to be very cautious. They stain the plastic and get absorbed within the plastic, and it becomes virtually impossible to clean. So be very cautious when storing your figures to make sure that the soft goods do not touch other figures, other soft goods, especially other plastics, the faces and heads and hands of the exposed skin plastic, if you will, of other figures. It can and does seep into the plastic and is absorbed in the plastic, and you cannot remove those stains. So, a word to the wise. In 1996, Kenner Collector Series line may now be considered vintage, but these figures still capture the magic of the original trilogy beautifully. Each version of Luke tells a chapter of one of the greatest hero journeys ever put to film. From Tatooine Dreamer to Jedi Knight to Galactic Legend. And for Star Wars fans, collectors, and fantasy lovers alike, Luke Skywalker will always be the hero who reminded us that even in the darkest of times, there is still hope. May the Fourth be with you always. And, as always, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I will see you in the next review.